What happens when you get stuck in a traffic jam in scorching summers and the AC of your car is not working? You urge to escape from the car as soon as possible. Why do you do so? You escape from the car to breathe in the fresh air to overcome this suffocating situation. Now, a question may click into your mind that why is breathing so crucial for our livelihood? This is simply because breathing in supplies the life-giving gas, the oxygen, and breathing out eliminates the waste gas, the carbon dioxide, to continue the process of respiration. Let us quickly define this process. Respiration is the biochemical process that occurs inside the cells. That's why it is more precisely called cellular respiration. This process is used by cells to turn the fuel, which contains stored energy, into a usable form. And what serves as a fuel for the cells? Think about the food we eat during the process of nutrition. When this food is digested, the carbohydrates present in the food are broken down into glucose. Yes, this glucose commonly serves as a fuel, which is utilized to release energy. The energy released during this process is used to make adenosine triphosphate or ATP molecules. Can you guess how do ATP molecules act like? ATP molecules act like batteries for storing energy, and hence they are referred to as energy currency of the cell. So, to generate these ATP molecules, different organisms respire by different modes. For example, we require oxygen to respire, otherwise we suffocate. That means our body cells normally follow aerobic mode of respiration. But what happens when enough oxygen is not available to our muscle cells when we perform any sudden strenuous exercise? Do our muscle cells die under such a situation? Of course not. In this situation, the muscle cells shift to anaerobic mode of respiration, also called fermentation. That means they start respiring in the absence of oxygen. And what about the yeast cells? Can they survive in oxygen-deprived environment? The answer is yes. That means they can also follow anaerobic mode of respiration. But what is common between these two modes? The first step is common between these two modes. This step occurs in the cytoplasm of the cell. Do you know what happens at this step? At this step, the 6-carbon glucose molecule breaks down into 3-carbon pyruvate molecule. Now, further conversion of pyruvate, that is, the second step, depends upon the availability or unavailability of oxygen. First of all, let us know what happens to the pyruvate molecule when enough oxygen is available. In this condition, 3-carbon pyruvate molecule breaks down to liberate carbon dioxide, water, and huge amount of energy. This step occurs in the powerhouse of the cell, that is, mitochondria. But what happens to the pyruvate molecule when enough oxygen is not available? Well, it depends upon the cell type. First of all, let us know what happens inside the yeast cells when no oxygen is available to them. To understand this, prepare bread dough by adding yeast to it. After a few minutes, you will observe that the dough is rising. Now, smell a rising loaf of bread. It smells boozy. That means pyruvate molecule breaks down to yield 2-carbon ethanol molecule, which is an alcohol. In this case, alcohol is released as a major byproduct. So, what should be the presumed name for this mode of anaerobic respiration? It is called alcoholic fermentation. Now, let us see the dough. Wow, the dough has risen so well. Do you know the reason behind this? This is because yeast cells have respired anaerobically and thus released the bubbles of carbon dioxide, which has caused the dough to rise. That means, in addition to ethanol, carbon dioxide gas and some amount of energy are liberated in case of alcoholic fermentation. Now, let us know what happens inside the muscle cells when enough oxygen is not available while performing sudden strenuous exercise. In this case, 3-carbon pyruvate molecule gets converted into 3-carbolactic acid molecule, and some amount of energy is liberated. In this case, lactic acid is released as a major byproduct. So, what should be the presumed name for this mode? It is called lactic acid fermentation. After performing any sudden heavy workout, you get muscle cramps. Can you predict the reason behind this? The answer to this query lies in the byproduct released during lactic acid fermentation. Yes, it is the deposition of lactic acid that causes muscle cramps. Then, why do our muscle cells shift to this mode of respiration? The answer is quite simple. Though fermentation or anaerobic mode is less efficient as compared to aerobic mode, it fulfills the instant energy requirement of our body. Now, you must be wondering that why anaerobic mode is less efficient as compared to aerobic mode? The answer to this query lies in the mechanism of glucose breakdown. Yes, in case of anaerobic mode of respiration, glucose molecule breaks down partly to release energy, due to which the amount of energy released from one molecule of glucose is approximately 20 times lower than aerobic mode. So, the way glucose breaks down decides whether the mode of respiration is aerobic or anaerobic.